What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and an interesting news story popped up over the weekend involving J.K. Rowling. Now, you've noticed her name has been in the news for many times lately as a far lefty herself, clashing with those even further left than her over one particular issue, and that is the erasure of women. Um, J.K. Rowling has spoken out several times uh, over this kind of, women in sport, biological men competing in women's sports, things that are widely accepted as, pretty base takes. But now we've got local law enforcement involved and an open threat on her life for the act of expressing concern over what happened to the author Salman Rushdie, who is best known, of course, for his novel back in the late 80s called The Satanic Verses, which is widely considered one of the most controversial books ever. It really angered the Muslim community, and he basically, years later, 30 years later, still carrying out this attack was somebody who, tried to end his life. And J.K. Rowling decided, well, hey, I'm going to speak out against this. And well, another very peaceful person decided to say something on Twitter. Harry Potter film studio Warner Brothers has condemned threats sent to J.K. Rowling from Iran supporting Terry, who tweeted, "You are next," in response to her support for Salman Rushdie. Ms. Rowling, 57, received this harrowing threat from Mir Asif Aziz, based in Karachi, who described himself on Twitter as a student, social activist, and political activist and research activist. Wow, it's a lot of activism. Harry Potter and free speech campaigner, writer and free speech campaigner said, who had been pilloried by trans activists for her beliefs on gender, that it's real, has expressed her horror at the attempt on Rushdie's life in upstate New York when she was issued the chilling threat on Twitter. Police have now said they are investigating a report of this threat made against the author, and officers are carrying out inquiries. And today, Warner Brothers also gave its support to Ms. Rowling, adding that it stands by the author and creators who bravely express their creativity and opinions. A statement added, Warner Brothers strongly condemns the statements against J.K. Rowling. We stand with her and all authors, storytellers, and creators who bravely express their creativity and opinions. WBD believes in freedom of expression, peaceful discourse, and supporting those who offer their views in public arena. Our thoughts are with Sir Salman Rushdie and his family following the senseless act in New York. The company strongly condemns any form of threat or intimidation when opinions, beliefs, and thoughts might differ. It comes after the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery said in May that he would meet with Ms. Rowling to discuss the new Harry Potter content amid a slew of rapid-fire changes meant to cut costs and gin up revenue. David Zaslav, 62, took over the company in April and has already ruffled feathers with his no-nonsense approach. Here's a picture of the hero. Here's the tweet. Feeling very sick right now. Let him be okay. This is, of course, talking, to Salman, and then you have about Salman, and you see this guy. Don't worry, you're next. Twitter, of course. The name of this man is blah blah. He's a revolutionary fighter. So he's a legitimate threat. Twitter, these are guidelines, right? Now, of course, we see after reviewing the available information, we determined that there were no violations. So Twitter refused to ban this person who issued a threat to J.K. Rowling. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? What? Aziz has also previously made, quote, tasteless, quote, jokes on how to go after Israel, branding Putin savage Ukraine, and has labeled the country of Pakistan's chief geopolitical rival Terry states. These aren't jokes. You get that, right? Ms. Rowling has revealed that after reporting the threat to Twitter's social media network concluded that it didn't violate any of their rules. The email from Twitter read, as we said, the 57-year-old posted a screenshot of a response commenting, "These are your guidelines, right? You may not threaten people." Aziz also appears to support the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Don't Care, who frequently rants about Israel in deranged, horrible tweets. In one of his posts, he talked about other things that, again, this person's still on Twitter, And responding to another tweet from Iranian dictator, "Dear leader, your struggle for Islamic world will not be wasted until we young generation are with you." He sounds like he's real joking, right? Rowling 57 had posted last night about what happened to Rushdie, saying it was horrifying news, feeling sick right now, let him be okay. But the guy then, Aziz, who had described the attacker as a revolutionary Shia fighter, then threatened, "Don't worry, you are next." In a bid to get Aziz booted off Twitter, Rowling yesterday afternoon posted at Twitter support, and I would want more than Twitter support. Like, I want people at this dude's door. And now, if it happened in the United States, they would probably just give him the tools to do what he wants to do, and then pretend that they were shocked when he did it, and then say, "Well, he was on our radar." Now, Rowling has confirmed that police are involved, telling all our followers, "To all of you sending supportive messages, thank you. Police are involved. We're already involved on other issues." Mailline has contacted Twitter for comment. Rowling and horror writer Stephen King are among the authors and notable faces voicing disbelief after Rushdie had his incident, including, everything that was really bad. The Indian-born British author whose writing led to unprecedented threats from Iran in the 80s was to deliver a lecture in Chatikwa institution when the incident occurred, leaving him with, all sorts of bad things that happened. Here's the person who called him brave, salute you. No. Like, this guy is not joking. And, I don't know if you want to start jailing people for tweets. But certainly they do in the UK. I don't think that you could call this a joke. I mean, this is a pretty direct threat. And also, it's absolutely abhorrent, pathetic, disgusting, that Twitter would refuse to remove the tweet or ban the person. This is also the very same company, I'll have a video on this actually later today, that had Saudi employees doxing users on their platform and sending it back to the Saudi government in exchange for fancy watches. Twitter doesn't care about your safety. They don't care about their own rules that they put into place. And if J.K. Rowling can't get them to enforce the rules, that it probably, I can't know this for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was some woke Twitter employee that was like, "Oh, well, she's a TERF, so she deserves it." Type of, like some scenario like that. Because that's how a lot of these lunatic SJWs talk. This is how they talk on Twitter openly, because they know they're not actually in any danger of having to live up to the same rules as the rest of us. Now you have Scotland's police involved in the situation. We know, I guess, who this guy is. This said they're investigating the threat made against her after she tweeted support. There is almost certainly Muslim followers and viewers of my videos, and so, and I've spoken with many of them, and I don't believe in throwing an entire religion under the bus like that. I know people talk about, "Oh, the religion of peace is up to it again." This is a small percentage of it. That said, you wonder if it feels like the community doesn't rein these people in enough. It just feels that way. Maybe I'm wrong. With so many people agreeing with the behavior and so many people, supporting it, it's just a, bad look for these people. And I feel bad for them because, most of them, I would assume, are, a religion. Maybe they were born into it or whatever the case is. But as of right now, this is the only major religion where this kind of stuff keeps happening. And I would assume it's up to that community to police this and to get it under control. Outsiders certainly don't have any control over it. This guy, after what happened with Rushdie in New York, that was a dude that was, you know, wasn't even alive when the guy wrote the book, or barely alive when he wrote the book in '88 or whatever the book came out. And he waited all this time to get, you know, to get into heaven or whatever. However he justified it to himself. Deranged individual. You know, I would like to steer clear of painting an entire group of people a certain way, and focus more on, it's interesting that the way the media reports on stuff, it seems like one particular religion gets a pass all the time, and it's messed up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this dude gets arrested, because he's clearly a lunatic. We'll talk to you again real soon.